There were two battling cities of Mesopotamia. They did not have a national identity, they were just small kingdoms of their own. The nation's capital, the white city of Memphis, was located on the border between the ancient kingdoms. Among the two kingdoms there was a division of beliefs. The north worshipped the god Set, and the south worshipped the god Horus. A man Narmer started the first dynasty of Egypt, making him the first king. Years later, Djerir, the third king in the dynasty, was the first to send troops past the borders of Narmer's kingdom towards the south, where the army triumphed over Lower Nubia. This was the catalyst of the civil war to come. Djerir also sent troops to the northeast along the coast of the Mediterranean at the same time. 2 kings later, Den led men into the Sinai Peninsula and clubbed the local chieftains into submission. These victories were for all of Egypt. After these victories, Egypt split into an upper and lower kingdom, upper being southern Egypt and lower being northern Egypt. Tensions began to rise between the north and south. Meanwhile, according to mythology, god Osiris is ruler of all earth, but his brother, Set, is jealous of him and his power, so Set kills Osiris. However, Osiris's sister and wife, Isis, finds Osiris half dead, but he is alive enough to impregnate Isis, so Horus is born and becomes king of the living realm. Adjib came to power as the 4th king of the first dynasty. He titled the royal appellations Nezubit, which refers to the realms above and below. Nezu is translated to divine power of government, and Bit means the mortal holder of the power. Adjib had trouble holding on to the Bit because he couldn't properly handle all of his power. Many people didn't like Adjib and expressed this through protests and the chipping of his tomb. The pharaoh after Adjib, Samarkand, attempted to remove Adjib from history and rewrite the past because of the hatred people had for his reign. Samarkand then took power very forcefully and violently from Adjib. Samarkand ruled during the time of drought and was the last ruler of the first dynasty. His reign ended so extremely, causing Menptah to start a second dynasty, which is considered to have occurred around 2890 BC. Many kings reigned throughout the dynasty, and drought proves the king's uncertainty regarding control over life and death. This caused the civil war to break out.
Sekhemib, the next to last king, took the throne after Manetho. He was a southerner but sympathized with the northerners, so he wrote his titles with the sign of the god Set instead of Horus. Sekhemib ruled during the peak of the war, when the southern army fought the northern city of Nekeb, which was the ancient city of the vulture goddess, and was the eastern half of Hyrcanopolis, located in Upper Egypt. The fight in the city of Nekeb was a sign that suggested the empire of Upper Egypt was almost broken because of how far south Lower Egypt was able to travel. As for myth, a battle rose between Horus and Set, who were enemies competing for the total rule of Egypt. This battle between Set and Horus resembled the battle between the north and the south of Egypt. In the Battle of the Gods, Horus rips off Set's testicles and makes it so he cannot have an heir. Horus eventually inherits the throne, but unfortunately kills a brother to get there. Next, Kasakim, a southerner who worshipped Horus, came to power in the 3rd dynasty. This was a time of peace and prosperity, and Kasakim's marriage to a princess from North Egypt made trade more prevalent throughout the nation. He changed his name to Kasekemwi, which means the two powerful ones appear, to resemble a reconciliation of both sides. Even though the war passed, Horus still had power over Egypt, and Set lingered as a threat to that power. Set turned into a Lucifer-like figure that spreads evil around Egypt around 1,000 years later. Kasekemwi was buried like a normal human being and shows that pharaohs are no longer regarded as gods.